recording. Thank you for being here this week. Forgive the fire. Very poppy. Chief has developed a pretty serious coffee habit. Every time I take a sip, he asks for a sip as well. How could I blame him? So today, I just want to look at random things. We'll start off with the Grand Canyon. I thank you for being here this week. I love you all. God bless and welcome. So the Grand Canyon, really fascinating. All there is to explore. And what is this canyon? Was it really carved by water? Doesn't look like all smooth at all. Does not look like water has carved this canyon out. No. So what is it? Well, a lot of people propose that this is an electrical discharge scar. A scar that ripped through this land, ripping through like an electric bolt, and you can see the similarities with electricity. God, the fire, I'm sorry. It's so poppy. Somebody complained once, comment, I'm gonna unsubscribe, that fire keeps popping. All kinds of people threaten, and that's okay. Feedback is accepted if it's constructive. And I don't know. You guys know I don't know. I'm not here to say that I know. Other people are doing that. I'm just questioning those people. And I so don't know that I even question this electrical discharge theory. I mean, sure enough, it looks like a Lichtenberg pattern. And if you don't know, they basically touch electricity to wood and like a vein or artery, it slinkies along. And this is a very natural pattern. It really is. And the Grand Canyon, as you can see here, just by my noodling around, is much more than a canyon. There's like thousands of canyons and rivers, many more rivers, small ones. Some of them are very small. And I think the electrical theory is more plausible than the water theory. I mean, up here you have very small water flows in some of these little side canyons. Not enough flow. Sometimes the source. Not enough flow to rip these canyons in this way. Anyway, that wasn't even the Grand Canyon. The grandest is over here. This is the big part. The national park is here. And what else? So some say river did this, some electricity. What else? What about this? Was this made by the river or electricity? Maybe electricity. Really poor image. Maybe I need to change the date. No, 2012 looks a little better. But yeah, what else? What else could it be? The Native Americans tell us during the last reset, they were brought underground by a people, by another people, not by their own people, but some advanced people. They call these people the ant people, whatever that means, whether they look like ants or maybe they were the main occupants before the Hopi. And even though the Hopi are older than modern man, these people clearly had their shit together, as they took the entire people and brought them underground to save them. And the Hopi didn't like the underground world. The story makes it sound very machiny and tech-like, where they lived a very natural life. Many today still do. So they're brought underground, under the Grand Canyon, to weather the last reset. That's all. That's their creation story. And they're from here. I mean, their creation story has them brought underground in the Grand Canyon somewhere. And then they're brought back up after the reset. They're deposited out here, given corn, and they just live. I mean, that's it. Their whole existence in history and presently is like right here, right here. This creation story takes place in this mysterious region, really. There's stories of the Grand Canyon in the early 1900s of explorers discovering like Egyptian artifacts. And today you're not allowed to go to that place. There are no fly zones all throughout the Grand Canyon. Let's take a pause. Okay, this is not going how I thought it might. I'm really enjoying it though. So much to discuss here. But I do want to keep my thoughts somewhat organized. So back to my main point. We have option A, water, mainstream story. Option B, electricity, such as the Lichtenberg patterns. And option C, Native American story that basically is telling us that this was like a city. They were brought down into the Grand Canyon, into the earth before the reset. So what did this look like before the reset? They said underground it was a city. It was like a scary, ominous, forever city. And I propose option C, based on the Native American legend, has these being buildings, now totally cooked out, and these canyons actually being streets. I know, that sounds so crazy. But again, I don't know. All I do is put it all on the table. Here we go. It's all on the table. Pick your option. Go ahead and leave it in the comment. Just A, B, or C. No explanation needed. What do you think? A, water, B, electricity, C. C is kind of a blend between meltology and electricity. Some sort of serious wipeout. And so now this pattern is the city. I know. Just crazy. What a fool you are, Jon. I know. Just humor me for one moment, maybe. Here, I was looking at this Pinterest. I enjoy this Pinterest. It seems like there's pictures on here that are kind of rare. Of course, we must be careful, but pretty good stuff, actually. And this one that I was looking at shows this canyon and how it's actually not canyon at all. Sorry, I was going the wrong way. And here it is. So you can see this canyon. And I verified this place just to be sure. Here we can see it again. And so if you were up here at the top walking around or viewing this from the air like we just were the Grand Canyon a minute ago, you would say crack in the earth. This opens up a whole new can of worms, of course. I could do A, B, and C here as well, but it would be different. Let's just consider that a canyon might be a corridor for a city, as we can see here. Simply the corridor. Maybe it was never meant to have dirt on top and has just been ravaged. And we can see the mess in the streets. Somebody has just barely cleaned it up enough to utilize. And where is this? This is Agadir. And they're calling this a granary. So very similar to what they say are Native American granaries in North America, which I don't believe. They're pulling the granary on this whole city. They're trying to tell us this whole city is a granary. Granaries, Berbers, or the Barbars, perhaps the southern version of the Tartars. Anyway, this is in Morocco, I think. Anyway, the city is called Agadir, and here we go. This is what we get. I mean, totally cooked out. I'm amazed that anything survived. It looks like people have put in wooden doors now. But again, from the top, it looks like a canyon. You see my point, and it's not just a straight shot. You see how this winds? It has this kind of serpentine flow, the way the Grand Canyon did. And yet, this has been built this way. Whether you want to call this primitive or not, doesn't matter. It's been built this way. Now is essentially a canyon. And any more damage, any more heat or cataclysmic force, and this baby is disappearing and looks like a natural canyon. And yet, it is anything but natural. Pause. So here we go. This resembles so much. This explains so much. Little structures poking out, and then nearby we see the underrealm. And it was never really intended to be the underrealm. And this is not mud, and yet it has been flooded, not with mud. Cities have been turned into rubble, covered, and just some parts survive. And the parts that survive are streets. And we must ask ourselves, is this what this is? Are these streets and were these cubed off blocks cities? and just little towers poking up here and there. And if we could gain access and truly explore this canyon without restrictions, would we find access to these cities such as the explorers in the early 1900s? Water, electricity, or cities. And sometimes I think about things for years before I share them. I never feel like I have enough to share or make a good case. Today I got lucky with this really special city in Morocco. An abandoned city, a canyon city. And it's no different than images like this in Petra. Same thing. Seeing below ground level, seeing above, and it's the whole mountain. The whole mountain is not a mountain. I don't know how that's not clear, but I get it. Sometimes it takes time, that's all. How about here? Is it not clear here? Is this not clear enough? No, you bastard. I don't know. Here again, going underground, almost turned into whatever you want to call this, a blob, and a little bit survive. On one side, surviving the blast. Even interior parts of the building can still be accessed, as we can see here. Probably 75% of the structure, maybe up to 90, totally destroyed. Rock turned to rock. Rock is not rock. Is this even real? This is unbelievable. Unbelievable. I'm telling you, this site is like some secret stash. And you have to log in, and sometimes I don't want to log in. Here again. And I have to verify a lot of this. It's so mind-blowing. They're telling us this is in Peru. How about this one? Also Peru? These need verifying. But I've discussed this in a video before. They want to tell us this is mud, but was it rendered into what now seems like mud? Again, everything becomes less than what it was. Everything eventually can look natural. And here, this is like a perfect in-between. I'm not sure about that picture, but this pyramid resembles many Peruvian sites. Very important to double check everything these days with all the AI. This I can verify as an old picture I've seen. This is in Mexico, and you can see the same thing. Just looks like a desert on top, some block, but really just a mess. The top 3 feet, 4 feet, just a mess. Just a desert, and when you go underground, this is what you get. Unbelievable. And it really goes back to these granaries. Here's a great one. Same place, we can tell with this tower. And here you go, like all of Utah. And sometimes a little bit pokes out and they tell us, oh, Native American, but it's so much more than Native American. We're dealing with buried cities that have been cooked, their tops completely covered, entire cities. So what is a canyon? Is a canyon even a canyon? This is great. Please let me know your thoughts. Of course, as I always stress, I don't know. I don't. So let's take one more pause. Okay, part 3. Somebody sent me some really good honey, and I'm going to flash his business card on the screen. It's not sponsored, but it was really good honey. Thank you if you're listening. Me and Chief have really enjoyed it. So, I was thinking about these ideas that we discuss, how wild they seem, and where did it begin? I think we've come so far. Look at us, looking at these really unknown cities, discussing what canyons may be, what these ruins might be the ruins of, and where did this all begin? I don't know. I want to say the Garden of Eden, whatever that is. I want to say it began with the Garden of Eden, one of the oldest stories. And what happened in the garden? In the garden, we were deceived. Very simply put, whatever the story is, it's a story of deception, a trick. We were deceived by a snake, the talking of a serpent, and tricked into taking a bite of an apple. And that's fine. That's a nice story. But really, it wouldn't be until thousands of years later that people would begin questioning their reality. And I think this is when that began. This, for many people, was the most exciting day ever. And for another faction of people, it began a series of ongoing questions that still continue to this day. And even to this day, so many years after the event, it's still frowned upon by many to question this questionable event. So the last place I want to look at is this Phugtal monastery. It's a Buddhist monastery located in India, and it looks like some parts have survived better than others. Some have been painted, whites and yellows, but essentially this is a pocket of survival. On one side, we can see some parts haven't fared well and don't seem to be occupied, like this one here. And I found a connection with openings. Seems like the opening helps to preserve certain parts, usually surrounding the opening. But you can see these buildings just fuse right into the rock. Just a perfect transition. Very difficult to see where the building and mountain both end and begin. And this again I found on accident. Really awesome stash of images here, just mind-blowing. Tucked away on this website that requires a login, but I think it's worth it. It's absolutely worth it. It's so distracting, really. I can't even focus, even now. Total distraction. Where is this place? Great example of what we're talking about. Fine line, beautiful pocket of survival here. And we can also see what it almost became, all of it. This is somewhere. Let's see. Fort Jodhpur. Maybe this is a different one or another side. And really we're seeing what these canyon cities may have looked like in their glory, or more glorious than the Grand Canyon, more glorious than the granaries in Morocco. This is an idea of what all mountains may have looked like. This is the kind of cities that become mountains when destroyed. Just unbelievable, crazy building here. And very dense, very populous, very advanced civilization, even though we would be told this is primitive. And today may very well be primitive. So mind-blowing. I can't verify this particular image. However, I can verify these in Morocco. And I can verify the mud flood. And this is the truth. Whether this picture is legit or not, this is exactly what's going on, realm-wide. Something extreme happened, turning cities back into rock and canyons. Varying levels of destruction. So I think I'll end it here. If you made it this far, I thank you. I hope you've enjoyed. This little cat on the left is Patricia, Patty. And just as soon as I finished their little catio, it seems we were done with it. I mean, they're still using it, of course. But no longer do I close the door. They are absolutely free at this point, which means I'm free. I look forward to traveling more. I did mention in my last video I took a small trip. I have automatic cat feeders. And you can see Patty's brother back here. This is Quinn. And these are the two cats that were born on the river. And we also have their mother. And it's really cool. They're totally free, and now they choose to hang out, even though they're free to go wherever they want. So again, I thank you for this week. I love you all. God bless, and I'll see you in the next one.